Good afternoon, everyone. Eva again here. And today I'm going to talk a little bit, I know it's an afternoon, so it's a little bit of a heavy topic. And so I'll talk a little bit about data and using data within your business. So by the end of this presentation, what I want to get across is the importance of using data analysis and metrics in your business. I'm going to look at data analysis against your genius, whether you're a steel, a dynamo, a blaze, or a tempo. And then just talk a little bit about my learnings and possibly next actions. Okay, so I should have put this in something automated, but I thought putting it in last minute. So who thinks, and if you could just put a comment in the chat, who thinks that data analysis is important in a decision making within your business? Just say if it's yes, no, not sure. I guess most of you here being in business would probably go for a yes. But I know in the past that people are not always sure how to use whether data analysis is important in their businesses. Okay, so thank you. So let's take just a quick look at what data against metric. So metrics tends to be the numbers that you track. It's what you gauge in terms of performance within a project, a company, in your organization, or anything like that. The data analysis uses the matrix to help you make decisions about how to move forward. So it organizes, it interprets, it structures, and it's presented in a very sort of useful way. So this is going to be a little bit heavy because sometimes when I'm doing the data analysis for a project, I look at quite a lot of matrix, but it's all set up in spreadsheets and some of it come off in reports. So this might look a bit full on, but in terms of Google Analytics, I look at about 10 matrix, and that could come in from customer conversions to sourcing on common traffic, where you're getting your traffic from, whether it's from social media or is it from Google directly, or is it from, and maybe look at the demographics, any things like that, the customer behavior, things like that. We look at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and just started with Instagram. Okay, I put here sort of the bio click rate. Now, sometimes when people post on Instagram and somebody's interested in something, I know it looks like you're just sharing pictures, but in your bio might have the link to your website. And so people actually go and click on that link and takes that traffic right back to the website. Okay. So how do we start generating traffic to any of these online assets? I look at them in three basic categories. It could be your personality. So you could be sharing something that is fun, something that is humorous, but also you want to think of the topics that are of interest to your audience. And then you look at branding. You might be telling customer stories. You'll be using videos. These could be just video. It could be live Facebook videos. It could be posts as well, but how to sometimes get across that brand information very well, how to videos and how you can serve them. And then also you're looking at products, the specials, if you have any specials, any product highlights. So if you've just brought out a new product or something like that, you might want to tell your audience a bit more about it. And that could be in form of an infographic. It could be how-to videos, but you want to put a particular product in that spotlight. And then don't be afraid. A lot of people sometimes are afraid to share sales related information. So the odd graphics with a graph or showing some sort of trend is okay to share. So all these type of content start bringing about a brand identity and helping you to sort of get traffic to your online assets. So why data analysis? Why do we want to use data analysis within our businesses? We want to be able to sort of predict customer trends and their behaviors. You know, what are they buying patterns? How often they buy, things like that we look at. So we use that information to analyze, interpret, and deliver the data. We could present that in different ways. Now we could also use to increase business productivity. So by having the analysis, say for example, if you're looking at gaining new customers. Driving new customers or something like that. And then also, it also helps in the drive effective decision making. Okay. So I put this slide in here because it's not just about you you look at the data and that's it. You need to sort of look at formalizing a sort of hypothesis. And then sometimes you question that data to make sure that it's relevant for what you want to do. And then you need to, sometimes you go into the Google Analytics and you set up the goals, or you set up something in order to report on that question. And then you then need to take action on the analysis that you found, and then basically measure and review your results. So not just all about, oh, well, I've got all this data. The data is only useful if you make use of it, if you do something with that data and take action against it. So I'll show this quote in here. The CEO of LinkedIn said, data really powers everything that we do. Data, especially in this time, you have to have some understanding of where you're going in your business, and that is very much linked to your data analysis. I'm now going to just move on a bit to talking about the profiles, your genius. So in terms of a dynamo, as you know, those are the mechanics, the creators, the stars, and they take leadership, so it's a task-based leadership. They're very intuitive, and they're creative, but they're also visual learners. They ask the what. So when you're talking to them about data, you sort of have to talk in a probably in a faster tone. You don't spend a long time. You got to talk future focus. So you'll talk about, if you're using data, where they can go with that data in the future. And you might want to show them some bits of charts, pictures, and graphs. Short descriptions to the point, because they're thinking what next. Tempos, I put tempos next because they're opposite on the spectrum. And as you know, tempos are down to earth, they're ear to the ground. And so they're activity-based leadership. They like to keep everybody on track, and they are kinesthetic learners. And they ask the where and the when, but they're touchy-feely. They like to touch and feel things. So when you're dealing with somebody with lots of tempo energy, you might want to send them a link so they could play with the website. If you're in property, you send them sort of like the house, visual, and so that they could move around with it. They might want to print it, look at it. So they're very touchy-feely kind of people. Moving on to Blaze. As you know, Blaze are people-based leadership. They like relationships. They like to be collaborative. And they're auditory learners. So when you're talking to them about data, they like to sort of they're into a lot of the sort of what we call vanity matrix in social media. Who liked my post? If I said to them in the past, I'm busy looking at the insights, they're telling me who liked their post. So they listen through listening and talking. So here you could use, when you're presenting data to them, give them the stories, give them the testimonials, that sort of thing. And you're speaking there in a sort of a friendlier kind of a voice, because they're very people-based, people smart. Okay, and Steels, like myself, we're very data, we lead by data. We're very analytical. So we're always asking the how. And we want that historical information. So we'll go back and research where it comes from. So when you're delivering data sometimes, or looking at data analysis, it's a much slower pace, because we want all the detail. We want to understand what is going on in a project. So it's just to give you a little bit of an insight. If you're working with people within your teams, within your teams, how you should be sort of focusing on them. And then, of course, we got a fifth element, right? So dynamos are creatives, Blaze collaborative, tempos consultations, Steel's calculation, but water is your why. And there again, just like the earlier presentation, we must know what we're doing, but we must know why, and that leads us to our virtue. Okay, another just a quick quote here. So I'm just going to go quickly to my learnings through this process. I recently joined the Genius U team. And for me, having found out my flow and finding out that I'm a Lord and very still, which is in line with what I thought I was years ago, and I thought I was something else now. So as a result of this, I've sort of redesigned my business to work more in flow, taking into account my strengths and my challenges. I've also been able to understand personalities of clients better, from understanding my own genius and now studying others. And also it's really improved my communication and rapport with people. Once I understand, I could now begin to identify, if they didn't take the tests, where they might fall on the spectrum. So for me, especially coming in from a Lord profile, that's really, really helped me in sort of redesigning my business. So just quickly, in terms of moving forward, I want you to be able to identify your business goals. Don't just jump right in with the data. Link it to your KPIs within your business. Then you're going to look for tools to manage that data. Okay, lots of tools. You got Facebook, got their insights. Twitter has their analytics, Google Analytics, but also just set aside a small amount of time to analyze that data in order to grow your businesses, in order to take that next step. And so just to finish up, I'll say, if you go to work on your goals will go to work on you. If you go to work on your plan will go to work on you. Whatever good things we build end up building us. I want to say thank you, and if you have any questions.
Thank you, Eva. I'll just take your screen back. Thank you, Eva. Does anybody have any questions? I've for one, are not good with data, and I've been talking to Eva about that. So creators do not like data very much. Well, we like it, we just don't like the process of having to collect it. Yeah. So thank you for that reminder.
Yeah. Is there any questions?
Any questions?
I wouldn't mind asking one, Eva. Yeah. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much. That was quite insightful. I'm probably someone who does enjoy messing about with data. And the challenge I have, which I'm sure everyone does, as we move towards the 5G network and the sharing of much more data, how do you work out what's good data and what's just absolute rubbish that we can then decide what we're going to analyze?
Well, I think first thing you have to do is link it in with your own company objectives or your company goals, right? And once you identify those KPIs that you want for your business, there's so many various measurements that you can use. So then you go towards that. And then also you could then start looking at, for example, on a website, there's bounce rate. And everybody, not many people understand bounce rate, right? And it's not only about whether somebody leaves your website, it's whether they have actually taken a action on your website. So when you look at that, some people not sure whether they have a high percentage. Oh, that's good. But no, high percentage means that they're actually leaving and your content is not really relating to them. You want a low value. So I think in general, when you're looking at data, in terms of good or bad, you have to relate it back to your business KPIs and what you want to achieve over a period of time. Does that help? Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Thank you. I think for us guys in property, I'll give you an example. We might look at spare rooms and we see that there's only, I don't know, 20 HMOs being offered for rent. Now, does that mean it's a rubbish area and no one wants to be there? Or does it mean it's a really good opportunity and no one's found it yet? In other words, the same information can be interpreted two completely different ways. And that may be not easily linked to your business goals at all.
But saying that, but you could also look at what you want as an audience. So if you go on there, you will know who's your target audience, and you'll think about that area and where that house is positioned in order to use that data. Do you understand what I mean? So even though there's loads of houses in this area, it may not be suitable for your audience, because your audience might need to. It could be it's loads in an area that is not close to any transportation, but does it suit your audience? Right? So that data could still inform on that sort of thing.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Eva, you're making your business to be focused towards helping clients to understand their data or collect it and provide them with reports on a monthly basis. Is that right?
Yes, that's where I'm. I mean, I look at websites and social media because I have been a social media strategist, but as opposed to reporting, I like reporting on the strengths of the data instead of just posting. So I would look more at things that, okay, say if you're doing live videos, okay, I kind of like to look at, okay, is the SEO right? Did you mention certain keywords within the first few seconds of that video? Which videos sort of went more viral than others, and why did they do that? So it's sort of informing more that, okay, well, you know what, this went well at this particular time, so you should do more of it or less of this at this time. So that is the sort of yes, that's where in terms of providing online help, that's the direction.